From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of ParksCenter. My name's Ben, and joining me tonight we have Allison.
Good evening, everyone.
Jill.
Hello.
Rob.
What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday.
And Pete.
Sivako! What a happy Wednesday we're having today.
Yeah.
Gonna take a turn real quick, though.
It kind of... Well, no. Hey, Rob, we finally got opening guidelines for Disneyland.
No, don't do that to me.
No.
Don't do that to me.
2022.
Don't get your hopes up.
What is that? Another football for Rob to kick?
Look. All right, so let me start with this, okay? We, in radio, we do this thing, it's called an insurance contest, where you have an opportunity to win money that you can never win. That feels like what the opening of Disneyland is at this point. It is an opportunity that they cannot win. And so, it's like I get that these safety measures are ones that they think on paper are going to be the perfect safety measures for a great, opening. But we are in a world where we've been trying to deal with this stuff for so long. We can't have the perfect opening for this. And what they basically did was they made these rules that said, and I know that in the article they say they're arbitrary, or I know that was in the announcement, they're arbitrary. They're not arbitrary. They're definitely on purpose to say, look, if you can get all of these things done, then I guess you can open. But by saying that, they're saying you can't open. And it's so frustrating. So we had all these articles hit. And of course, every article we have is like new information about Disneyland. Hey, this could be the one. They're making a big announcement. But it's just disappointment after disappointment after disappointment on this one. And again, like I said, like the insurance contest thing, if it has to be this yellow level, they have to have less than 2% of people testing positive. They have to have less than one person per 100,000 a day test like new cases. You can't do that in 2020. Like maybe 2021, I don't know, but you just cannot do that. And so, I agree with Disney management that's saying you're saying we can't open. I mean, you're not saying it, but you're saying it. Sorry. Yes, you started with the wrong person, because I'm just like so frustrated about this whole thing that I can't even stand it, because it feels like they've just set the bar at a point where you just can't win.
Oh, you did an excellent job of covering over half the articles that I had prepped for this topic already. So everything you described about what they've got is true in terms of these regulations. People have been calling them arbitrary. There's a decent chance that nothing's going to reopen until 2021, given these tier requirements they've got. Like the original announcement was that they can reopen in the yellow tier at 25% capacity, which makes you think it sounds like it's gonna happen like right now, and that's not what yellow means, because like you said, that's one new case a day for every 100,000 people, right. Which is a very, very high bar right now.
When that happens, not only do I want to go to Disneyland, I just want to move to California, because they clearly have basically cured COVID at that point. I mean,
in fairness, there are a lot of places in this country that got to that bar. New York City got to that bar. A lot of the places that were initial epicenters did get to the bar. And that is the metric that we've set for ourselves at home for returning our daughter to daycare. We're not even close to there. We are like 10 times that still here. But that is the guidelines released by leading epidemiologists around the world. But it is, you're right about one thing, and that is very difficult to meet that bar in a lot of the United States, and very difficult for California, given the trouble they've had containing this.
And to carry it for 2 weeks, though. They have to carry it for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also sort of our bar at home, which is why my husband's still cutting my hair.
It looked great.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fantastic job. Yes.
YouTube tutorials. You can learn so much on YouTube. Watch ParksCenter.
What will open first, Disneyland or Ratatouille? That's all I want to know. What has the more likely chance of opening? These are hard metrics, and I don't think they're bad metrics. Like Allison said, that's kind of her bar for her family, and it probably should be the bar for most of America. However, in the state of California, for not only once they get to that point, then there are super strict guidelines in the theme parks, which are almost unrealistic. And like our article said, even if they get the 2 weeks of yellow, then they have to bring back staff get the park, the park's pretty much ready, but like, prep them, teach them, train them, have everyone ready, because you can't do that now and say, okay, remember your training, we're going to open up again in 6 months. So you kind of have to retrain, bring everyone back, see how many, what cast is available, how are you going to do that, and what kind of seniority system. It's a major overhaul to open up Disneyland and DCA. So they need time for that. This is bad news for them. And then we had another article about if they're suing the government. We're talking about that here, right? Wow. Not later in the show.
We are talking about that, but I do want to clarify very quickly that Disney is just considering taking legal action over these guidelines. They have not filed suit at this point, but they haven't ruled it out either.
It's also, but how do you file suit there? Like, and I get it. Everyone's like, okay, well, they're going to bankrupt the park, or they're going to, all these people are losing money or jobs. But also too, like, can't the government just be like, Your Honor, we're putting the interest of the public first. And, if you're going to say, hey, money matters more than the interest of the public, but also people are losing jobs, it's tough. But this just seems like, this is part of this year. It's a pandemic. We don't have right answers. I'm sure if we polled everyone, we're all Disney fans here in this chat, like open Disneyland. But if you polled, 1,000 random people off the street, should Disney open under strict guidelines or should we wait until the yellow, you'd probably see a pretty half even. Even my friends up in New York are like, I can't believe you're going back to the parks. And I'm saying, hey, they're safe. And you guys have seen our live streams, and we're safety first down here. But some people just don't get it. So I think this is going to be a kind of a mixed bag. I get it from both sides. I just feel bad for everyone in California. We have a Slack channel for our company, and everyone who's over in California is like, we're coming to Orlando. So rough news.
They're not getting into Disneyland anytime soon. The other thing is, so they tiered theme parks into, smaller parks and larger parks, and obviously Disney is in the larger park category. But even the smaller parks, so the smaller parks can open at a tier down. I guess yellow is the tier Disney needs to hit. But small parks can open at the orange level. But even then, if they applied those guidelines to Disney, Disney couldn't open anyway. And I don't honestly know how any park could open. Capacity has to be limited to 25% or 500 people, whichever is less. What theme park, short of a little church carnival, what can open with under 500 people and not lose money? Just the staffing and operational costs alone, only allowing in 500 people is never gonna cover that overhead. They can only allow in people from the same county in which the park is located. How do you even track that? Do you have to check everybody's driver's license at the door? It's like Gavin Newsom hates theme parks. He hates fun and wants to, like was saying, make it okay. I'll give you guidelines because you're asking for them, but they're gonna be so ridiculous and unable to be met. And by the way, there's actually nothing you as a theme park or company or business can do to meet these guidelines. All of these guidelines are around the number of cases and the number of positive tests. Disney can't control that. Knott's Berry Farm can't control that. So it's you just have to sit around and wait, and there is absolutely nothing you can do. Everything else that's required is stuff Disney already has in place and has had in place for probably the last 2 or 3 months since Orlando opened. So it's what
if Gavin Newsom loves theme parks and this is his way of getting Bob Chapek fired? He's thinking way steps ahead of us. He's like, I got to get tomorrow here. I got to get Chapek out. What if I just never open Disneyland?
Gavin, if that's what you're trying,
there it is.
Gavin, if that is what you're trying to make happen, we support the outcome, but not your
the
method.
means.
I guarantee you. Email me, jill@wdwnt.com. We'll talk. We'll figure out a much more effective strategy, because I don't think keeping Disneyland closed is what's going to get Bob Chapek fired.
Oh gosh, that's such a thing to think about. All right, well let's pick up the rest of the stories this week, because believe it or not, there was more news than that this week. So we've cooked. Yeah, it's So we can't even afford tarps to cover up broken things anymore. Like like y'all who were complaining about Spaceship Earth's descent. Like we could have had just netting instead. So this is I'm a little frustrated that Disney can't seem to like fix things at all anymore. Like they've been putting a lot of effort into. I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is like the worst show I've ever seen. Like they're supposed to care about show, safety and show and all the whatever how many S's that they are always like saying to their cast members they take care of. But this is like why not just put like caution tape or like get a piece of chalk and outline the body of the animatronic and then just remove the body? Like this is ridiculous. I broke Ben.
Or it's a great show. What if they're fishing? I mean, it's a goose in a net. Like, people go this. It might just be a creative way of capturing this animatronic, and someone just didn't finish the job. I don't know. I mean, if you watch Tom's, I like what he put in the morning video with the news. That at least they like fixed 3 things on Splash Mountain, and then they were like, "But we're gonna cover this little goose in a net, and no one's gonna notice over here." Like, pay no attention to the goose under the net. Yeah. I mean,
we've got shadows now.
Three Caballeros treatment. So I'm sure we'll see it back up and running in like a week. But man, this is funny. I actually don't hate it. I don't think it's even bad show. To me, it kind of makes sense, and it's hysterical. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority here.
Disney owns Discovery Channel now, right? As part of the Fox merger. So maybe Discovery Channel is Deadliest Catch. So maybe they're like gradually retheming Splash Mountain to the Deadliest Catch and throwing a net over it. Maybe, they push Princess and the Frog out. Deadliest Catch would be a much better retheme for Splash Mountain.
Having a micro narration in a ride would make me pretty happy. So.
I mean, what else are they going to do? I mean, ripping them out would be so much more. I mean, it's not cost effective.
Yeah, that's fair.
Can we replace
and then you might have more ride downtime to literally take him out and put him back in. So you may as well just give him a little snooze, put a little net blanket over him, and say, "We'll see you in a little bit. Enjoy your nap time."
Yeah, you said there's no theming. I mean, the net is theming. I mean, it's it's part of the whole fishing. The fishing feel. But I would like to say for these next 40 seconds, I would like to allot my time to Allison to finish her Bloodhound Gang. Song she's doing.
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. All right.
Sing it again now.
I heard you saying that while Pete was going, and I'm like, no, Pete, shut up. This is good. So thank you.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't even hear it. I couldn't hear it.
Is this now every episode of ParksCenter, a different member of the cast has to sing a song?
I'm coming up soon.
It was you last week. It was the 1, 2, 3.
Oh, right. That was the post show. No one saw that. Moving on to some rumors that have been flying around, because we've actually got a couple of these this week. So Tron Light Cycle Run, the project here seems to be having some issues, and it is likely at this point that it won't be opening in time for the 50th anniversary this time next year. Sources say, which kind of makes sense. I mean, you got the parks closed with construction going on. And it makes sense that there might be a bit of a delay. Also in this topic, we're talking about how Smugglers Run and Jungle Cruise might be getting a virtual queue. Like Rise of the Resistance has one now. We don't know if it would be the same style of virtual queue that Rise has, or if it would be a more like Universal-esque, where it's like Fast Pass, but thou shalt use it. There's no other option. So floor's open to any or both of these rumors if anybody has any strong opinions or input on these.
Does anyone like the Jungle Cruise queue? Because I'm happy to not have to wait in that.
I mean,
I'll fight you on that. The radio's great.
Yeah, the radio's good. I just don't like the dense switch maps.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Once you're in the building,
however,
like you're only in the building for like the last 15 to 20 minutes of the queue now. Up until that point, and there are hour-plus long waits, you're over by pirates. And so I think that's why they're doing these two specific rides. Is the Jungle Cruise queue gets way out of control because there's nowhere for it to go but up into other parts of Adventureland. And the last time I was at the park, the queue for Smuggler's Run was into Toy Story Land. So these are two queues that they are out of space to control. I mean, we saw last week that they were opening up parts of backstage. Opening backstage to accommodate to talk about bad show, although I feel like we're always talking about bad show these days. So I think that's why. I hope they do not do what Universal has done with their virtual queues, because Universal clearly has no concept of how to run a virtual queue, and I hope that when Disney expands it, I mean, they do a good job with Rise in terms of using the boarding groups to minimize your wait time once you get called, but I don't know that it's gonna. I'm curious to see how it's gonna translate to other rides outside of Rise.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that we rode Jungle Cruise today on the live stream. Thanks to everyone who watched today. And yeah, you're only in the buildings for the last 15 minutes, and they leave the switchbacks are, Allison said, but they leave two switchbacks empty. So really, you're using 4 rows for 2 lines, if that makes any sense. So it's not that bad. I don't mind the Jungle Cruise line. And today they posted a 40-minute wait. We waited. I think someone timed it. I think David, our Wigs member, timed it. I think we waited like 14 minutes, and it was a 40-minute posted wait. So, and we started our wait just outside of the actual, where the queue sign is. But I think Jill's 100% correct, is that they're using this for lines that are coming all the way through the park, into other rides, bleeding into other lands, bleeding into backstage. They need a place to put people. There's no shows to eat people. We talk about this every week. There's no shows, there's no meet and greets, there's no entertainment, and you have to have 6 feet between people in line. So you have more people in lines, 20%, which is, who knows what that is. And you put these people. So I think that's why this virtual queue came about. If I could just take a few extra minutes, because Mandy's been asking me to talk about Tron forever. And I just want to talk about maintenance and construction, because they're talking about it here, is we did see people on Tron working today. The problem is, and a big construction thing, and other people in the construction industry out there would know, is it's weird the way this works, because a lot of the time you'll bring in an independent contractor, or Disney will hire someone, but this is the Buena Vista Construction Company, which is owned by Disney. So it's kind of like they're laying off their own people and not like telling a contractor, because normally if you have a contract with a contractor, they have to have a finish date, they have to have completion dates, meet certain guidelines. That's why it's easy to have an opening date, is you need to have this done by this date, this done by this date, and we need to open and have you out for punch list and final inspection by this date. And what's weird is with the Buena Vista Construction Company, which is inside that Disney, they own it, is they can, I guess, pull that back any time and say, all right, let's. And again, I don't think they're laying off construction workers so much as they're moving them to what they deem important. So like today we saw like 3 or 4 guys like welding on Tron, where normally they would probably have 30 to 50 construction workers on that site today. So I wonder what's the priority of where they're going, or maybe they are telling some guys, hey, go bang unemployment for a few weeks and come back when we have some money in December or January. So we'll see what happens. That's just my little thing. I want to address it because Mandy's been asking, and we all love Mandy here on the show. So she.
We love Mandy. And for the record, this is the exact same thing that's happening with Ratatouille too. That the layoffs have
and Guardian
delayed the construction. And Guardian, basically every construction project they laid off people that are working on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, for Tron though, drop an F in the chat for Tron's release date. I was very much looking forward to this one and very upset that it's not going to be happening for the 50th, but I get it. But it is hard, Pete, I think did a great job explaining, the different groups of people who are doing different things. It's hard to see people painting the entry plaza to main, the Magic Kingdom, when they've got projects like Tron that are falling behind. So, I mean, I get that was a thing that they could do and probably do it for cheap, but again, it's all manpower, and so it seems a shame.
It's also too is showing something. We used to do this too when I was a construction manager. Is if we had 10 guys and we know we couldn't finish this gigantic item on our punch list, but we could go finish the painting project. We could fix this little thing. We can get that sign up. Now you're like, hey, look, like the Welcome Plaza, that's completed and done, yay! Because you know you're not going to be able to complete Tron, but you could show something. Right. So you put those guys over on the construction toll plaza. So I think that's where that's like, hey, let's go do a bunch of little knick-knack things here because there's no way Tron's going to open on time anyway. We'll wait till we have more money. We'll bring in a bigger crew.
Yeah, makes sense.
Speaking of people painting things.
People painting things. Hey!
We have the Festival of the Arts, which is going to be starting, or a taste of the Epcot International Festival of the Arts, which is going to be starting on January 8th of next year, so we do have a date. And along with that, we also know that the taste of the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival is going to be concluding on November 22nd. So that is a month and a day from today. Again, like Epcot is always having festivals. I think it's actually a little surprising that they're not announcing anything at this point in terms of the holiday season, because this is usually the time frame where they do something along the lines of like Candlelight Processional and holidays around the world and all of that. And unless I missed something, which is possible, they haven't come out and said they're doing any of that. I'm sure they're not going to do Candlelight.
They've come out and said they're not doing Candlelight, but there are dates for Festival of the Holidays. I want to say it's like November 29th. Like it's literally like Festival of the Holidays starts a week after Festival of or Food and Wine closes. And which is weird because it's like right at Thanksgiving, and I'm not 100% sure that Festival of the Holidays will be open by the time Thanksgiving Day hits, or maybe like right in there. But that's kind of weird that it's so late and then it's so short. It's only like a month long, kind of making this like a super short festival. And Festival of the Holidays kind of gets, doesn't really get a lot of perks. So the fact that they're not even going to have Candlelight Processional, it's like, oh, well, Festival of the Holidays doesn't have a lot to offer. I mean, the food is probably the least good food of any Epcot festival. I believe they're going to have fewer booths this time because they're having fewer booths for all of these festivals now, which is why they're calling it Taste of, I think, because you're getting less selection. But I just think, I don't know why they're trying to shoehorn it in there other than Epcot has a much bigger capacity because it has a lot of space and it allows them to get more guests into the park. And people don't necessarily make Epcot their first choice, but when it's your only choice, you still go. And it's like, oh, hey, pass holders, you can't get into any other park, but you can get into Epcot. So come and throw some money at the food booths and buy some merch and, be happy about it because that's all you get.
Chad is saying that the festival starts the 29th, which is that Sunday after Thanksgiving. So
so it's not open in time for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I love the concept of continuing to say a taste of, which means less than. So I, from now on, will be giving a taste of paying my bills and a taste of cutting the grass.
Oh, I like that idea.
I think I fixed my camera. Sorry, everyone.
So is this show a taste of pressing issues?
Hey,
no, we'd be done now then.
I mean, it is a little silly, the whole taste of.
We're like sit-down dining, and they're like the buffet.
Yeah, there you go. And I guess that would make News Today the quick service option. So that makes sense.
Yeah, solid. That's a solid.
The cosmic rays of quick service.
Oh gosh, we've got how many bays of? I'm moving on before this gets out of hand. But speaking of things getting out of hand, Disney's taken over an entire country now, guys. They took over the entirety of Morocco. The Morocco Pavilion. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, that's a little more reasonable, at least. I was starting to fear for our world order for a second, but no. The Morocco Pavilion, we've reported previously on this program about how they've been having issues paying the bills, essentially, and Disney stepped in and said that we're going to take possession of this, and they are, in fact, doing it. Disney has officially taken, or is officially taking ownership of Morocco. I don't think they've quite finished doing it yet, but they are, in fact, doing the thing. The bit that caught my attention about this was Tom tweeted out Shandu. So do we think that we're going to get IPs in Morocco? IPs. Shandu is an original character, but I mean, are we going to get
We're
that?
not getting
I don't
Shandu.
think we're getting Shandu. We're not getting
We're
Shandu,
getting
but
Aladdin way before we're getting Shandu.
way more Aladdin.
Can we not, please? I like
There's-
Aladdin, but there's a lot.
Here's what I want to see happen. I want to see them pick up the magic carpets of Aladdin out of Adventureland, where it is clogging up that entire plaza. It was so much nicer in Adventureland before they dropped that abomination in there, and just pick it up and move it into the back of the Morocco Pavilion. And then you get your spinner ride in Epcot that we've been talking about for like a year and a half, and you get a much more open spaces in Adventureland, so you don't have so many issues with the Jungle Cruise queue and the Pirates queue and people like falling all over on top of each other to try to get Dole Whip at Aloha Isle. Solves all your problems. Don't have to pay for a new ride. Just get a helicopter in there, pick it up, drop it down in Epcot.
I think you're a genius, and I also think you listen to my live streams because I literally said the same thing, and I said that Epcot,
Really?
I said the same exact thing. And the one thing you left off is I said Epcot needs more children's rides, so this actually works because there's not a lot for kids to do at Epcot nowadays. So the Aladdin, perfect.
Pete, you dropped out for a second there. Can you repeat that?
Oh,
No, repeat. I get
don't
it.
know how to fix this.
I think you're back now. Give it a shot.
I don't think so. I'm watching myself and it's miserable. I don't know.
Gosh.
This is terrible.
No, I think you're back.
Anyway, you guys talk. I'll watch.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you
I'm
already
gonna
got to
do my
talk about this on the live stream today, so I'm not going to feel that bad. There you go.
Exactly. Brilliant idea, though, Joe.
For Pete's commentary, go watch the live stream from this afternoon. We're on the
It
same
wasn't
wavelength,
today, it was
Pete.
the other day.
That is the greatest,
But
most
genius.
blasphemous idea I've ever heard.
Oh gosh, I really want to see them do something cool with this, but you're entirely right. They're probably going to just, if they're going to even do anything with it right now, because right now, like for the next year or so, they're probably not going to touch the darn thing because they're just not in an environment where they have the money to finish the projects they've already started. Well, I won't say money, but the ability for whatever reason to finish the projects they've started. So it looks like it's not going to be moving too quickly. Something that might be moving quickly, if we're lucky, is going to be Space 220, which we have seen the entrance sign, and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign, and it looks really good. Like real talk, like honestly, I really like the way this looks.
With the plastic draped over it, I think that's
Well,
very
I think we
classic.
could do like half the logo looks good. The first half looks pretty bad. Gotta admit, they had me in the first half. That 220 though,
Right.
can we get the font redone for all of that?
I agree with you, man. I think that logo looks good, but I think that when I saw our headline that said, sign revealed, I didn't think it meant like by the wind. Like I thought it was like they were actually making some sort of announcement, because this has been a restaurant of lore at this point. Like, will it ever open? Just kind of like the whole Ratatouille thing that Pete was talking about at the top. So, I mean, I'm excited for this restaurant. I do think that the vibe of it, like the signage and the logo and all that kind of stuff, really look cool. I'm glad to see, like, I don't love Mission Space, so it's neat that there'll be something there that I might be able to like go and hang out and do. So I'm excited about that. I love that there's a restaurant, like a sit-down restaurant coming to Future World. That's great. It's just, when is it coming? And because the sign doesn't look like it was purposely revealed, I don't think that kind of tells us that it's going to be necessarily anytime soon. And it could be very much like, I don't know what the inside looks like, just like we didn't know what the inside of Ratatouille looked like. It could be the same situation where they've finished everything all the way down to the sign on the outside, and we could still be, a ways away inside getting it all set to go.
I feel like this is something that they could reasonably complete and open in this environment too. Like this, it's a restaurant. We've got a bunch of restaurants already. All it would take to open this would just be to, finish the interiors, which I assume is mostly done because this has been going for who knows how long now. and
supposed to be
just
open
kind
in
of open
February,
it at
yeah.
limited capacity. Like this is.
Yeah, I mean,
I
for
hope.
something that was supposed to be done such a long time ago, I think, you know, Ratatouille was supposed to be open in the summer, which was after COVID, but Space 220 was supposed to be open pre-COVID. And, well, not COVID on the scene, but pre everything shutting down.
Right.
And a lot of the delays were not, as far as we were aware, about, you know, construction or the interior or anything like that. They were about staffing issues and issues going on with the restaurant group who's running the restaurant. You know, they hired a new executive chef like right before it was supposed to open. So, and maybe part of this is like Patina is still being cautious about opening a new restaurant in the midst of COVID, or they're trying to figure out the best way to do social distancing. I mean, the other thing is there's plenty of other sit-down restaurants in Epcot that aren't open, you know. Nine Dragons isn't open yet, right? Mm-hmm. So, but at the same time, you know, we've kind of heard rumblings that Nine Dragons or not Lotus Blossom Cafe might open soon. So there are rumblings that other stuff is going to open, and maybe this will be in that wave. But of all the things that I think we're going to see open anytime soon, this is probably number one on the list. I think this is way more likely than anything else we've got going on, whether it's Ratatouille or anything else, because again, there's an outside company involved in this. This is not Disney run, and so they probably have a little bit more, you know, bandwidth to be able to make this happen.
Yeah.
I could use more bandwidth.
Couldn't we all?
We'll see if we can get you some for the post show, which is coming up in just a minute for our Weeks members. But before we get to that, just a couple quick notes. Thank you all for watching. If you like the show, please be sure to give us a like down there. Also, please subscribe if you haven't yet to get notified each and every time that we go live, which happens quite often around here, as Pete will tell you. We also have a couple shout-outs. One to our official travel sponsor, the Vacationeer, who are the engineers of your next magical vacation. You can sit back and let their team of vacation planning experts craft your family's next magical Disney trip. And the best part is that their services are all free. From hotels to park tickets, from fast passes to dining, and so much more, they can help you out. Visit www.nt.travel for more details on them. And for more details on wigs, which I talked about being in the post show in just a minute, you can check out the WDWNT Interglobe Society over at patreon.com/WDWNT. For as little as $2 a month, you can get access to our post shows, the post shows for News Tonight, and a whole host of other benefits, including access to exclusive content like detailed and ride rehab watches. Along with a lot of podcast backlogs and a fun Discord community that's exclusive to our Wigs members. Again, that's patreon.com/WDWNT. That's it for the plug-in. We'll see you for the post show in just a minute. Otherwise, we will see you all next week.
Bye.
See you, Marco!
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun 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 dun.
Love it.
Bam.
This chat is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-S.
The lag made it sound like